Alright, so I'm here with my friend Mr. Elefante here, and I just got back from going for formal dining here on the Imagination, part of my $24 cruise, solo edition. And I gotta say, I was kind of worried about going and eating in a restaurant by myself. It just seems like the epitome of sadness. It seems like if this was a romantic comedy, that would be the low point. Eating by yourself in a restaurant. It's not something that people tend to want to do. It's not on anybody's bucket list. So anyways, I went there and they made the offer. They said, would you like to dine alone or with other people? And I said, oh, share a table, that's no problem. I figured, take a shot, see what it's like. And it occurs to me that actually Burton and I had shared a lunch table with strangers before on the Inspiration on my very first cruise. So credit to Burton, he prepared me for cruises fantastically well. He actually really exposed me to a lot of different aspects of it. Anyways, it was fantastic. The kind of people that I encountered, there were widows, veterans, and retirees. Fascinating stories about these two guys were in the Air Force. One of them served in World War II, the other one served in Vietnam. And so they were kind of comparing notes and talking about a bunch of different stuff. One woman had worked in corrections on death row for 15 years. They're all quite well traveled, far more so than me. I was easily the youngest person at the table by at least 20 years. It was fascinating. They were really interesting people. There was just never a dull moment. And it was all really friendly and collegial. I think I'm gonna dine every night at the restaurant and just see what other kind of people I can meet. When Burton and I did it, there were some pretty nice people. We got along reasonably well. It was families and I think an older couple or something, and so they were very much looking down at their nose at the spring breakers, because it was a spring break cruise that we were on, that first one, and so they were doing a lot of complaining, and but even still, it was fairly polite. It wasn't like super awkward, although at one point I think that they were complaining about Burton and I because they talked about the two jackasses running around in hats. Thankfully, we didn't wear our hats to breakfast that day. I had a lot of anxiety about going to eat by myself in the restaurant, I'm not going to lie. But I was just super hungry. I didn't want to go back to Lido. The Lido on the ship is somewhat small. I think it's actually a little smaller than the Inspiration in terms of what's there. There's a little bit more food options up by the pool on Lido. So there's like a Mongolian grill and that kind of stuff. So that's good. I got my cheese fries, and that kind of stuff when I was having my lunch. So it's not bad. It's just the entrees were a little light on the first day of the sail, which, we'll see how it goes for the rest of the trip. So far, solo cruising, not bad. Not bad at all. I've done these two ports twice before. These people, having both been in the Air Force but in two separate wars, they track the weather very carefully. It seems to be an obsession with Americans. They always talk about the weather and want to know what's going on with the weather. They were all saying that there is an expectation of rain in Catalina tomorrow, which would be a new twist for me. So I'm not sure how that'll affect my plans. They said that it's going to rain between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m., which was awfully specific, and I don't have a whole lot of faith in that being true, just because of the nature of forecasts. So we'll just have to kind of see what happens. I'm content to just stay on the ship all day if I have to. I enjoy riding on the tenders, though. My basic plan is to get off the ship if the weather is cooperating. Go for a bit of a hike, not a formal hike to the top where you have to get a Conservancy membership pass thing, but maybe just over to the far side of the casino to see the beach thing that's there. Just kind of walk around, maybe do a little shopping or something. Probably hunt for Wi-Fi unsuccessfully. Catalina is sparse for Wi-Fi. My two previous trips, I was able to get a little Wi-Fi, like near the zip line, but I was basically stealing it off of a house in Avalon. It was just somebody had their network insecure. So far, solo cruise is not bad. I'm having trouble thinking of a downside, really. So I was surprised at that. I really kind of thought that maybe I would just end up spending all my time in the room, playing computer games or something, and just going up to Lido periodically for supplies. But no, it's pretty good. So I'm going to relax a little bit more here. I'm still dead knackered from having to get up at like 5:30 this morning to make my flight and everything to get here all in one day, which I'd rather not do again in that particular way. I like having a night in a hotel before getting on the cruise ship. Gives you some buffer. If there's problems with flights or whatever, then, you're not really at the mercy of the airline or the weather or whatever gets in your way. I might go up to the piano bar, which they're doing their sing-along thing around 9, and then at 11 o'clock there's an 18-plus comic who's performing in the Xanadu Lounge, so that's pretty much my plan for the evening. Maybe I'll wander the ship at some point, as I often tend to, late at night, but I'm just going to hang out with my friend Mr. Elefante here.